Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a piece of history that's been hidden in the shadows for way too long. We're talking about a time when unwed mothers were just sent away, packed off in shame. And we're going to dive into it through this incredible novel that tells the story of a group of girls who had everything taken from them and how they fought back with the only power they could find. And trust me, it wasn't what you'd expect.
Right from the start, this one sentence just hits you. It's not just a line in a book. It feels like a real plea, a demand for you to listen. This isn't just a story being told. It's a testimony from someone who survived a system that was built to completely erase her. And notice how she says, "when we were girls." That's the key part to hold on to as we get into this. They were just kids.
So, what exactly was this system? Well, let's set the scene. It's 1970, just a few years before Roe v. Wade changed everything. In this world, getting pregnant outside of marriage wasn't just a personal problem. Oh no, it was a deep, public disgrace that could ruin an entire family's reputation. And the so-called solution? You hide the problem. And that meant hiding your daughter. And this is where they hid them. Welcome to Wellwood House, a maternity home baking in the oppressive Florida heat. We see it all through the eyes of a 15-year-old girl named Neva. Her own father is the one who drives her there, dropping her off in total disgrace, even telling her it would have been better if she'd never been born. So right away, you know this place isn't a safe haven. It's a prison for girls who committed the biggest social sin of the time.
And just look at these rules. This is where you really see what this place was all about. The rules at Wellwood had nothing to do with care or safety. They were all about erasure. First, they take your name. Then, they read and censor your mail. You're literally hidden from the world. Curtains closed, forced to sneak out of back doors because, as they say, the neighbors don't want to see your disgrace. The entire goal was just to dismantle your identity, piece by agonizing piece.
But you know, a funny thing happens when you shove people together under that much pressure. In this building founded on shame, something else starts to grow. It's a reluctant, fragile, but surprisingly powerful bond. They were all stuck in the same nightmare, which made them a kind of sisterhood of shame. And inside, Neva is about to find her people.
So, Neva gets her new name, Fern, and that's when she meets the others. There's Rose, this defiant hippie chick who's absolutely determined to keep her baby no matter what. And then there's Holly. She's only 14, and she's so traumatized she barely ever speaks. Each girl is sort of a different version of what society at the time called a wayward girl. And together they form this totally unlikely, well, coven.
This line right here, it just cuts to the absolute heart of the psychological game being played at Wellwood. The staff was on this constant mission to manipulate the girls, to convince them that giving birth, the most natural thing in the world, was somehow shameful and evil, and that the natural thing to do was to surrender their babies to a good family, an act that to these girls felt profoundly, deeply evil. So, what do? What happens when every single authority figure in your life, your parents, the doctors, the people supposed to be caring for you, is telling you that your deepest instincts are wrong? When the whole system is designed to break you? Well, you start looking for help somewhere else. You find a totally different kind of power. This question becomes everything when the girls find out the truth about Holly. See, she isn't just some fast girl who got into trouble. She's 14, and she's pregnant by her own father, who happens to be a preacher. And in that moment, the sheer hypocrisy of their world just becomes too much to bear. All the good options are gone. There's no one they can turn to for help. At least, not for any conventional help. And that's when they find it. Their only option left, they turn to the one power that hasn't been stripped away from them, a forbidden one. A book about witchcraft of all things, found on a visiting bookmobile, becomes their new Bible. It gives them what no one else will, a little bit of control, a sense of agency, and a way to finally fight back. And you gotta understand, this isn't your hocus-pocus kind of magic with bubbling cauldrons and rhyming chants. No, this is something much more primal. Their magic is just a vessel, a way for them to channel all of their collective rage, their pain, and their burning sense of injustice into a single focused weapon. Their anger literally becomes the fuel for their spell.
So with this new raw power in their hands, the girls decide to do something. They're gonna cast a spell. Not just to protect Holly, but to bring a real reckoning down on her abuser and on the entire rotten system that protected him. But when you start playing with that kind of fire, well, the consequences can spiral way out of your control.
And then it all happens so fast. They go down to the river and perform this ritual, and in this huge, defining act of rebellion, they conjure a massive, totally unnatural storm. And it works. Oh, it works! The storm brings pure chaos and destruction, and it literally blows the doors off Wellwood House, exposing it to the outside world. But right in that moment of victory, the authorities show up. The covenant is shattered, the girls are all separated and sent away, and just like that, their rebellion seems to be over.
But was it really over? The story then jumps ahead 50 years, and this is where it connects this one fictional act of defiance to the very real history of millions of young women and the dark, lasting legacy of these maternity homes.
The story of Wellwood might be fiction, but the reality it's based on was all too real. Between 1945 and 1973, it's estimated that at least 2 million babies in the United States were surrendered for adoption. Many of them born in homes just like this one. Think about that, 2 million. That's not just a statistic, that's an entire generation of silenced girls and their lost children.
So what happened to Neva? The girl once called Fern? Well, she channels her trauma into something powerful. She becomes a doula. She spends the rest of her life in delivery rooms, protecting other women, making sure they have the voice, the agency, and the support that she was so brutally denied. She literally becomes the protector she never had.
And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. After a lifetime of being silenced, of being forced to say yes to a system that was trying to destroy her, Neva reclaims her power. She becomes the woman who says no. No to injustice, no to coercion, and absolutely no to shame. It's this quiet, lifelong rebellion that proves that even after a coven is broken, a witch's power can last a lifetime. And it really leaves you with one haunting question. How many other voices from that time are still out there waiting for us to listen?